I am so excited. We think Fantasy Flight Games are about to drop the preview for the next expansion in Marvel Champions any minute. I'm recording, near the hour that they normally, preview articles and things. And I've also put together this little bingo, sheets card. I don't play bingo. I don't know. Of different things that could be happening. Now, I've just done this in Google Docs. I don't know. There's probably a better way. But some of these things on here are my predictions. Some of them are things following, patterns from other expansions. Some of them are just like, what if, so just a bit of fun, really, but we'll see what happens here, and we'll see if we hit any of these. I'm sure we'll hit quite a few of them. I'm predicting X-Men, and I am excited as heck. So, time to start spamming refresh. And it's there immediately. This was convenient. Wow. The Age of Apocalypse. Is that what they're calling it? I thought it might be, but it doesn't follow the pattern. Oh, I like the cover art. I see Bishop. They went with Bishop, and I think I know her name, but I don't. Wow. Okay, I did not predict Bishop whatsoever. My bingo sheet is already out the window. The end is near, the time of testing that I appointed. The weak shall be winnowed from the strong. Only those who prove worthy will survive the apocalypse. Apocalypse definitely does not talk like that. Wow. The end of the world has come after defeating Magneto's sinister strife. X-Men and X-Force have returned home expecting well-deserved rest. Instead, what they found is worse than anything they could have imagined. Professor X is dead. Oh my, they're just hitting you with this, and this is what the teaser showed us. Okay, 5 new scenarios just like normal. Individually or as part of a larger campaign. New other playable X-Men heroes for the game, beginning with Bishop and Magic. Okay, Magic is here. People talked me into this. I wasn't, thinking she would be, but she is. That's so cool. I did not think that was Magic, but now I see the sword. Okay. I don't read the comics, forgive me. This is so cool. Let's have a look at some cards. Oh, I like the art. The art is already better than the X-Force wave. No offense to the X-Force. And it's kind of sharper. I think the coloring is different. I really like that. 2 fort, 2 attack, 1 defense on Bishop. Temporal. He's got a temporal trait. They could do so much with that. Energy absorption, so that's something Captain Marvel has, but this is an ability for him. After Bishop takes any amount of damage from an attack, discard an equal number of cards from the top of your deck. Add each resource card. Oh. So he's meant for digging deep, right? I mean, I guess you'd get that anyway if it was discarded from the top. Wow, that's so weird. White Fox is definitely going in his deck. Wow, okay. Hit points, is that 12? We gotta go deeper into the matrix. Pretty sure that's 12. We'll look soon. Okay. Magic 1 forwarding. Okay. Not what I expected. Mystic, though. So we've got an X-Men who can use the Mystic card. So excited. So the coloring on Bishop's card looks really like Wolverine's with the yellow and blue. So Malcolm must be his signature ally. I don't know who this is. We're going to read more about him, I'm sure. Cold Pause is an ally here. In aggression. So we've got aggression. And yeah, probably going to be Magic, right? She came in... she was an aggression ally before. Let's get into some of this for real. Okay, I'm so excited. It's the story of Age of Apocalypse picks up where Next Evolution picked off, blah, blah, blah. So it looks like Unus, which is an interesting name, is the first villain? Toughness. Found a threat on Gene Pool. Wow, so his stuff changes and he gets like, worse and, harder and harder. This looks really cool. I really like what's going on here at a glance. It's God of Infinites. I don't know what that is. Okay, enters a fray with a legion of infinite soldiers. Let's have a look. So these all interact, and this is, I should say, a modular set I can see. These all interact with the gene pool, which the villain has. So presumably the gene pool is going to be part of this modular, and you can put whatever this effect is maybe on other villains, maybe. But this is really cool, gaining quick strike, surge, and extra hit points. So early game, this guy starts weak and he scales up, and this will help them match the tempo of the players. I love this. This is definitely everything I wanted, and this is interacting with, I recently did a video on what I want from Wave 8. One of the examples of a card that I liked, that I wanted them to do more of, was the plant thing from the Juggernaut scenario, which has Guard and Quick Strike, and here we are straight away. It's really, really interesting. So they draw strength from the gene pool. Let's see if it's in the modular. Yes! So this is permanent setup. This is really cool. Oh, I like this immediately. This is such cool design. So this is permanent and setup. So this is in play at the beginning of the game. So I can put this on, I don't know, Ronan if I want to hurt myself. And this will be in play at the very beginning of the game. After an ally is defeated by anything other than consequential damage, in other words, basically if I'm using them to chump block, if the villain is attacking and I defend with the ally, place free threat here. So the more I block with allies, the nastier the encounter cards become. This is really cool. This prevents people from, it deters them from blocking with allies, which is kind of, been known as maybe a little bit too strong, something they've been trying to, kind of stop and work on in different ways. But it's not saying you can't do it. It's just saying maybe you shouldn't. And even if you do hit, you can then recover by forwarding. And this will be interesting for Justice, because they can maybe, I'm just going to block with allies all the time, but keep this under control. What an interesting card. Apocalypse uses the raw genetic material of his victims to create the infinite. This is already like my favorite mod set in like, well, I love the superpower ones with Sinister, but this is phenomenal. And Unus, the villain, can add more threat to it through the likes of his prelate sidearms. This is surely an attachment. After he attacks and defeats an ally, place one threat on Gene Pool. But if he attacks and defeats an ally, you're already putting, so you're putting on 4 instead of 3. Plus 1 attack. It's not too bad, but you prefer it not to be there. Basic attack and spend stuff, so a little bit harder to get rid of than just spend X. And 3 boost icons on one of the first cards we've really seen from the first scenario. That is unusual, so I'm loving this. Let me go back. This guy's got 1. Okay, that's kind of what I'd expect. Although this is a modular set, but nonetheless very interesting. And the effect of the main scheme, hunting for gene traitors. So you can put the infinites in with anyone, and you're going to have to be careful about blocking with allies. But Unus specifically, he's going to keep putting that pressure on with the gene pool. Okay, please load. Here we go. Hunting gene traitors, 11 threat per person. So this is generous, but it's only 1. Interesting, and I like this art. The colors in this art are popping so well. I really like this. 14 cards I see here in his basic cards, which tells me he probably has 2 modulars at least, to fill up the size of the encounter deck. So that's really cool. Probably actually reread it. Yeah, after resolving the step 1 of the villain phase, place 1 threat on Gene Pool. That is so cool. So it's really pressuring you. So he's kind of generous on the threat here, and it starts with 0, but you've got the threat on that permanent side scheme, which is where a lot of your threat pressure may come from. And we've seen effects like Surge and Quick Strike. So if you don't keep the Gene Pool under control, those keywords add a lot of pressure. So I'm really excited, and I can see this actually working really well. Okay, so we've got something here called Evacuate Survivors. It's a side scheme with a mission trait, and it's from the mission set. So this is campaign, or is mission something different? Let's have a look. Unus is a dire threat to hit the heroes on his own, but he is not the only prelate of the apocalypse at large. Playing the campaign, heroes must rely on allies to handle special side missions around the globe. Okay, so this is the campaign thing, and the allies. So let's read this. After you resolve a mission attempt, place 1 attempt counter here and deal 1 damage to each ally at the mission. It kind of feels like a different card game where where you play allies to a location, and they try and solve something there. That's really weird. It's not like Marvel Champions. Do 1 damage if there are 4 attempt counters here. Remove mission. Okay, so you get to make attempts at this, and you build up counters, but the people attempting the mission get hurt. Shuffle each player card at the mission into its owner's deck. So whichever allies you use don't go into your discard pile, they come back to your deck, something like that. Wow, okay. So special mission side schemes, evacuate survivors, and be thwarted by the allies you send to take care of them. These allies form your mission team, which must be a special thing here. Won't be able to help you deal with the main villain while they're away. They don't count towards your ally limit. This just feels very leadership generous, but it's very, I don't know how it works. So we'll see. And I wonder, if there's going to be kind of any allowance. What about the characters or aspects that don't use allies quite so much? Maybe just this campaign is going to be very ally-oriented, but outside of the campaign, you don't need to worry too much about, allies and so on. It's interesting as well how they're using allies for this, and you play allies there. So you're not blocking with allies because, in the first scenario at least, that's going to make the gene pool, grow in threat. But you are sending them out here instead. It's almost like a separate play area in a way, it feels like. But I'm going to keep reading. Side missions have their own special rules and mechanics. So this could be something that goes beyond just this campaign if it sticks. It sounds like it's pretty in-depth. Overseer minions as well. So we've got Sugar Man. What a name. Is this already a person? Oh. So him and Modok are probably friends. Wow, victory 5. Cannot, if the points are counted for the victory stuff, that is huge. Cannot take damage while another minion is at the mission. So he's going to kind of block you off from doing stuff. Mission response. Is there a mission phase? I'm intrigued. Are these? Is this like, I don't know, Quest in Lord of the Rings? I've only played that a couple times. I'm not an expert. After you discard cards, heal 3 damage from Sugar Man for each physical. That seems like he's a problem. 5 health per person as well, I saw. Um, Interesting. Challenging to defeat them, but the effort is worth it. In addition to special campaign rewards that can aid you in later scenarios, you also get an immediate benefit. Okay, so when you defeat evacuate survivors, it flips over and lets you pull any card you want from your deck or discard pile. So it's kind of a player side scheme in that regard. You know, it lets you search for something really. Also lets it also flips mission team to its other side. So when you succeed, this cannot be discarded. First player gets control of it, so it kind of becomes your Milano, but instead of generating a resource, you're getting to choose a player to draw a card. So it kind of becomes an Avengers Mansion for the team. You succeed and get an Avengers Mansion is what I'm reading here. That's really cool. So I like this. I think this is interesting, and I like to use allies. If you don't like to use allies, I think you might suffer. And interesting on the art here, I see Cannonball, I see Jubilee, and I don't know if this is a hint because this art is from, you know, not commissioned for the game, but it's interesting to see which characters are featured. I think is that Polaris, and obviously Storm and Psylocke, I think. But we have those. I'm not looking for any clues there on who's coming up later in the wave. Hi, so I'm body sliding from the future back to the past because past me made a couple mistakes from excitement. What I need to say first is that I missed this card. So this is how you interact with these, you know, campaign-looking side schemes. You, as an action with this card, which the first player controls, cannot be discarded, you know. So this is kind of the Milano kind of stuff thing. But you can reduce the cost of the next ally played to the mission, or you can make a mission attempt. So you get a discount on, you know, how to get your allies to these things to deal with them, and that is how you make your mission attempts, which is very relevant. And this then flips over to the card I just looked at. I see an environment here pursued by the past. Let's continue. This is Omega Red. Standard free! They did it! They did it! Yes! Okay. Permanent setup. Ah, please be good. After you place a... They've been so animated before in my life. After you place a pursuit counter here, if the number of counters is at least 3 more than the number of players, remove each counter here. If your Nemesis minion is in play, it activates against you. Otherwise, flip this card over. After you flip to the side, your Nemesis find your Nemesis minion and reveal it. So you don't need Shadow of the Past anymore. You're now being pursued by the past. Oh, the name makes so much sense now. I need to slow down. I'm so excited. So your side team comes in. Wow. So this is an alternative way. It's not like, oh, I pull Shadow of the Past. Now suddenly there's a, you know, massive, you know, surge in tempo and it can end games. This is a way that you have something set up permanent at the start, which is such a good mechanic. I love that they're doing more of this already. We've seen 2 because I love this. This was my favorite bit about the you know, superpower sets from Mr. Sinister. So now you're going to get pursuit counters, and we're going to have to see how you get those and how they work. But now it's kind of going to be, you know, maybe the villains are building up to bringing in your Nemesis set in. Maybe you can counterplay it. They could do anything with this. Okay, let's read onwards. The new standard in counter set in this expansion. Standard free. This set serves as a side grade to the original. Oh, that's cool. But changing how Nemesis. So this is mostly what it is. Nemesis, it looks like. For its permanent environment, which builds up pursuit counters over time until it flips. The rest of Standard 3 has various ways of placing pursuit counters with cards like Dark Designs. That sounds like a Standard 2 or Expert 2 card. Obviously, whoa, that's an expression. Place 1 pursuit counter. Then if it has any counters on it, the villain schemes. Oh, so this is advanced with a little extra to bring your Nemesis in. After its activation resolves, place 1 pursuit counter. Yes, so every time you go through the deck, this is happening, and it doesn't look like you can prevent it. So this set kind of looks like the difficulty factor is bringing in your Nemesis, whether you like it or not, which is cool. People say, "Whoa, you know, we've got all these cool Nemesis sets, but I never get to see it." And at least this is kind of predictable. You can kind of see if you're at, you know, 2 out of 3 counters, or however many counters you need. That's not right, but you know, however many counters you need to bring your Nemesis in, you can kind of watch that and see it kind of happen in real time and prepare to kind of plan for it. You know, okay, this is going to happen soon. That's really interesting. Sinister Strike, Mr. Sinister on the art, please. Come on. Is that Omega Red again? He's in a lot of the art here, so he's probably in this box. I'm not sure. Place one pursuit counter when revealed. As encounters Surge, and then makes some attacks. So this one is kind of like Assault, but it places a counter. So these are really cool. Evil Alliance. I love the name of this card. Ooh, hello Magneto. Each Nemesis minion activates against you. If none in play, place per free pursuit counters. So this is quite swingy in terms of the counters you add. Presumably, yeah. So adds one counter as a boosted effect as well. This pursued by the pass will keep flipping over, so it's going to keep on bringing them in more and more often. Yeah, you find your Nemesis minion and reveal it. It's only the side scheme and other cards only kind of get put into play once, kind of like Shadow of the Past, but the minion can keep coming back to haunt you. That is awful for some characters. Wow, interesting. Roughly the same difficulty level as the original standard set. Yes! That's really interesting. To me, this looks a little bit harder, but I suppose there is no normal Shadow of the Past, so this is kind of the other thing here. I wonder if some of the other cards are maybe less bad. And it doesn't mention Expert Free, but surely there's an Expert Free. Maybe? Really cool. Really excited to try this. Nemesis minions are so underused. People have been saying this for so long, and what an interesting answer. And this is in a main expansion box as well, because Standard 2 came with the hood. This is so cool. Okay, let's move on. I feel like I'm taking too long here. This video is going to be a lot longer than I anticipated. Harbingers of Doom. After defeating Unus, the heroes will have to deal with the most notorious agents of Apocalypse, the Four Horsemen. So the Horsemen are, one scenario, which was something I suspected. I have not, going to win any awards there for, my genius, idea no one saw coming, but really interesting. And I've got my bingo card, Angel as the Horseman of Death, and it looks like that's correct here, but they've masked him and he doesn't have a name, so you can play Angel against him. So that's really interesting. I could be wrong. Maybe all the Horsemen of Death look like that. I have no idea. But I'm guessing that, is that Colossus on War? We're going to have to look at this. Scenario pits you against 4 villains at once. War, Famine, Pestilence, and Death. Similar to previous multi-villain scenarios, only one member of the Horsemen will ever be active at a time. But in this scenario, none of the Horsemen will be defeated until you reduce all 4 of them to 0. So they're going to keep swapping in and out, even if you defeat them, get them, down to 0 health or something. They still on the golden horses or on metal wings, or in Death's case, these Rough Riders will bring devastation everywhere they go. And I already see Apocalypse here. So let's scroll it up a second and let's go into this one. War. That is definitely like fake Colossus, right? We're zooming in. I'm going. One scheme to attack. After War attacks you, if he at least has 1 hit point, discard an upgrade or support you control. Wow, that is brutal. War cannot be defeated while another villain has at least 1 hit point. So you cannot defeat War. Is that something that will have? Is there some mechanic here? They don't have a lot of health, If I'm Storm, 1 lightning bolt and he's history. Scaling per player, 4 horsemen, 1 out of 20. He's probably got 1, maybe 2 modulars. Let's have a look. Next one. Famine. After Famine attacks you, and she has at least 1 hit point, discard the top 10 cards you deck. These are brutal responses. Like having to lose an upgrade or support every time War attacks. It doesn't matter if you block the damage here. It looks like you're gonna just take all your stuff away. Famine is gonna take all your deck away. Who is this with glowy hands? I don't know the characters well enough. Weird looking gold horses too. I suppose if a horse was gold, I wouldn't expect it to be normal. Oh, this is a cooler horse. Pestilence, red hair. I don't really know what's going on here. Scheme 2, 1 attack. So we've got 1 attack, 1 scheme, 2 attack, then 2 scheme, 1 attack, 2 scheme, 1 attack. I'm guessing the last one is going to have, higher attack than scheme. But this one, after it attacks you, treat your identity's text box as if it were blank. That is going to vary hugely with your hero, because, if you're Hawkeye, you don't care about that. And you're glad to see the 1 attack, but if you're someone who really relies on that, like, I don't know, Shadowcat, Pestilence is the anti-Shadowcat villain. That is what I'm getting. I mean, although only 1 attack's not that threatening, but you know, that's really interesting. I guess because these are all after they attack, it's going to drive people to alter ego more often, maybe. And finally, there's gotta be that's Angel, right? Um, After death attacks you, deal 1 damage to each character you control. They do not like allies. Interesting. And a 2 attack 1 scheme. Okay, and what were the other cards we had here? Let's zoom out. We had Golden Horses, which is an attachment +1/+1. Attached to the villain with the fewest hit points without the aerial trait. I thought it said, I'm going to go back a second. Only one member will be active. Oh, active. I did not predict that. I take everything back that I said before. So this is very much the Sinister Six. If you were screaming at your computer screen, forgive me. Okay. And without the aerial trait, so basically not death is what I'm gathering here. Interesting that death has aerial, so if you're playing rogue, you can get aerial and start to use all the aerial stuff. Wow, that's going to be really good for her events and stuff. Yeah, we'll go into that more another time maybe, but really interesting. And then considered to have 1 hit point. So even if you take them down to 0, well, this is on them, they're considered to have 1 hit point. So you need to remove this to actually defeat them, really. After you attack the villain, resolve its force response as if it just attacked you. So you have to suffer horribly, uh, you know, to get rid of this. But I like this. This is in my previous video, what I'd like to see next. More things that change the way you play. And, maybe I'm not having to pay resources, but something bad is going to happen, kind of dynamic. I really like this card. That's really cool. And if the, multiple villains are maybe at 0 health here, because you have to get them all to 0, you need to choose, which force response is the least bad for your character and deck, or, in multiplayer, maybe you're going to discuss what happens. Really, really like that. Okay. This is looking great so far. Metal Wings, I wonder who that's for. Attached to Death, wow. And move the active counter to him. Death gains 1, retaliate 1. This could have considered to have the 1 hit point remaining. And it's removed the same way. You have to trigger the force response and attack them. Not in that order. And then the next one was the Rough Riders, which is these guys. Wow. Resolve the force response. This is gonna hurt, but I like it. This is really interesting. I wonder if you can manipulate who the active villain is for this card. So resolve the force response on the active villain. If it has at least 1 hit point, move the active counter to the next villain. Yeah, this is cool. I like it. And what I like about this that I think I don't like about Sinister Six is this sounds like they're all in play from the beginning. So you're never going to have, I've taken one out and not have the other one. Sounds like they're all active, all in play, but then the active one changes. And even if they go down to 0, they're not irrelevant. So that's really cool. So, a problem with the Wrecking Crew is you took them out one by one. And when there was just one left, it was kind of rough. It was kind of anticlimactic, we'll put it that way. It didn't, there were mechanisms in place to make it harder as there were less, I believe, but it wasn't significant. Cool, I love that. Of course, even the 4 horsemen pale in comparison to Apocalypse. Turret is not invincible. Grows in power the longer the fight goes on. They're only showing 3 villains here. Are they pulling a Loki? I didn't think they were doing this. I put they were going to reveal all 5 on my bingo card. So that if they're only showing 3 of them, that means there's 2. Are we getting a Loki? Is Apocalypse, not going to be the final villain after all? I'm intrigued. We're going to keep reading. So he gets stronger as the fight goes on, just like players do. So this is already good. It looks like he might match the players in tempo more. The harder villains kind of like start off insanely strong right out of the gate and kind of like overwhelm you. Whereas the weaker ones, you kind of just grow in power and overwhelm them. So I love the way things seem to be growing in a lot of these scenarios so far. Yeah, interesting. Apocalypse gradually upgrades to stage 2. So he starts at first stage, which is this one, toughness. When the main scheme is completed, remove all threat from it. If that makes sense. Ignoring any crisis, then flip this card and reveal him. So the main scheme keeps refilling. Remove all threat from it, ignoring crisis icons. Okay, that's weird phrasing. You wouldn't think it would have to specify that, but I guess you could say to Apocalypse, nope, there's a crisis. You can't do this. And then reveal Apocalypse 2. So he doesn't advance by damaging him. In fact, he has 8 hit points, which is way too low. He's going to have kind of like the Hela or, the Collector. You defeat them on one side and then go onto another side, but probably come back onto that, stronger side. So he actually progresses through a different mechanism, which I immediately love. And it doesn't sound like, I could just keep damaging him. He would never get defeated. So this is a different mechanic that stops the player from rushing him. Okay, we're going to dig deeper. I need more. Stage 2, get steady. Okay, so starts off without steady, gain steady. Now the stages here normally you'd start at stage 2 on expert, but presumably either he's got 4 stages or there's an expert and standard version of him, or maybe it's like Loki, because the Loki scenario uses the same villains on all difficulties. Okay, yep, same thing again. He gets stronger and stronger. His stat went up by 1 now on a scheme. I'm guessing the next version he's gonna have free attack. Lo and behold, yeah, there is an Apocalypse 4. Oh, there's a 4 stage. Wow, White Tiger's gonna be drawing you 4 cards if you get to stage 4. That is, and there's a bunch of other cards that interact like that. That is fascinating. That is really interesting. And it seems like the main scheme has to. I wonder if you don't have to go to stage 4. You can defeat him through other means. Because it looks like the main scheme is something you're gonna, you don't want the main scheme to be completed. Maybe if you can prevent the threat from going up, you keep Apocalypse weaker. Well, let's read about this. Wow. Here's the main scheme is completed. The same scheme also prevents him from being defeated. How could you hope to win? So we've got a scheme that's preventing him being defeated, just like the previous 2 end-of-box scenarios, just like Thanos. But it looks like it's very different, so I'm very intrigued. The Age of Apocalypse. I don't know what the heck this is. Comic fans probably do. The time has come for a direct assault on Apocalypse in his towering citadel. X is the numeral in Apocalypse's printed hit point value. Interesting. Wow, okay, so this changes. Okay. When he would be defeated, discard each attachment from him and heal or damage from him instead. Remove X threat from the scheme, ignoring any crisis. Wow, okay. So he's just going to keep hitting, new versions going to keep coming out, so on and so forth. He does lose his attachments, though. Really interesting. Goes up by the standard amount you'd expect, 1 per player, starts with 1 per player. What an interesting way to match the threat threshold to the HP per person. Before it scales per person. What an interesting mechanic. Okay. Thankfully, there is a way. In order to defeat him, heroes must make their way to the heart of the Empire in order to reach the towering citadel. So this looks like side schemes you fought, right? Okay. Threat cannot be removed from the scheme while a prelate minion is in play. So everyone like Unis, our good friend Unis, and everyone else, there's probably going to be a modular set of them, and they prevent threat from being removed. Maybe one starts in play, I don't know, but that seems likely. Just a guess. When defeated, the first player reveals a random set-aside prelate minion. Okay, so each time you defeat one of these, another one is going to be brought in, and that's how they're going to kind of stop you from just, I defeat this one, then this one, then this one. You're going to have to deal with the prelates. The prelates here could be pretty beefy then, because 2 threat, which doesn't scale, is pathetic. To put it lightly. To each other player an encounter card. This is very reminiscent of things we've seen before. And an acceleration token, not too bad. Flip this over, and that's probably the Towering Citadel. Are they both number 4? Yeah, so this is the other side of this card. When defeated, reveals a status side prelate. With the Tyrant's Throne. So there's going to be, you're going through a chain of these. 3 is still, again, pathetic. So you're really just focusing on defeating the minions. Double acceleration, though, getting a little bit juicier. I like it. Once they've climbed the tower and reached the Tyrant's Throne, here we are. There he is. Getting Thanos kind of feelings here, but I guess that's just, big bad energy. There's random sets of prelate. So they're set aside. So they must have like their own kind of deck kind of thing. You set the prelates aside. Each other playing account. And reveal no longer worthy. This has got to be the physical strain, right? Like that Magneto gets. Surely. Is it going to show us? Yeah, okay. Heroes must prove that the villain is no longer worthy. Attach to Apocalypse and heal 5 health per person from him. Cannot take damage while prelate minions in play. I guess those are now circulating in the encounter deck. Ignore the forced interrupt on the main scheme. So he can't heal now when it's completed? Or something? I'll double check that. When Apocalypse is defeated, players win. So finally, he becomes defeatable, kind of like in Hela and so on and so forth. Wow, that's so interesting. Cool. Let's have a look at this thing again, the side scheme. Yeah. So the main scheme, interesting. You don't lose when it's completed, but you now ignore the forced interrupt. I wonder how that's going to work. But they're not showing us stage 4 Apocalypse. Oh, they did. When the main scheme is completed, the players lose the game. And of course, he's got 3 and 3. I don't know if I looked at that one. Overkill as well. Now he looks a bit more like a final villain, but even then, I'm not convinced they're not putting a Loki here. So stay tuned. That's really, really interesting. Okay, I mean, I'm super excited. So something else I've completely missed is this line here. So we'll reveal more information about the fourth and fifth scenarios on a later date. Brace yourselves for what's to come. So yeah, they are pulling a Loki here. There is Apocalypse. They keep building up these trilogies, and the villains they keep building up don't get to end it. So I do feel I've got mixed feelings to that. Yeah, we're gonna get something else cool, and I will say everything else so far seems solid. So yeah, maybe keep it to those three scenarios, keep it compact. We don't need any filler, and then something different here. But I don't know much about the Apocalypse, what else it could be. X-Men villains. So yeah, not sure where this is going. That's really, really interesting. Okay, I mean, I'm super excited. So I'm going to skip over to my bingo card now and try and fill some stuff out, but a lot of them have missed, which is a good thing. They've surprised me. Um, so villain stuff. Let's have a look. Multi-villain scenario. I mean, this wasn't too super surprising, but nonetheless, it is there. Archangel Horseman of Death. I'm definitely claiming that to be true. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's got to be him. Surely, just it's him, but it's not him. Da, 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 da. Honestly, I didn't notice this, so I'm gonna color this red. I don't think that one's even applicable. I got this wrong too. I thought, Mutant Genesis, Next Evolution, and then the final one was going to be something about evolving, or they actually changed up the first scenario too, which is cool. They did not do this, which is cool but uncool. I'm not sure how I feel about this. I don't want Apocalypse to be, uh, you know, usurped as the big bad of the trilogy. But I am curious who else it could be. I don't know, the villains and stuff that well. Heroes of Hope. So Lucas Bishop, I didn't know his first name was Lucas even. Temporarily displaced. After you change to this form, add a temporal card in your discard pile to your hand. So whenever you go Alter Ego, you get a temporal card. So those have got to be things you can play while Alter Ego, or that would suck. This has got more ways to change form. 12 hit points is pretty beefy, same as Cable. 4 rec, same as Cable. But his stat line is like Captain Marvel, who also absorbs energy, but not in the same way. So that's really curious. But nothing too meaningful here. Yeah, let's head down. First off, Lucas Bishop, a time-traveling soldier. This is represented in Bishop's hero ability, Energy Absorption, which allows you to discard cards from the top of your deck after being attacked, and discarded resources are added to your hand. Wind up with a bunch of stored energy in your hand. So what's this? This is just a double resource, but it's temporal. So every time you go Alter Ego, you're getting 2 resources if it was in your discard pile. Yeah, so if this is discarded, so you're going to want to go Alter Ego when this is in your discard pile. And he's going to presumably want to get attacked, a bit like his ally Injustice, which is cool, to get some more things in the discard pile. But he's going to get more encounter cards that way than usual by burning through his deck, it looks like. Interesting resources here. I think these are the same that Gambit's signature resource card has. So that's really interesting. I like this. This is already a really interesting puzzle. Get that into the discard pile. Go Alter Ego to grab it. Although, I mean, I guess once you're discarding initially from being attacked, it's in your hand. So discard, get it, spend it, Alter Ego, get it, spend it. This guy already seems quite rich. I don't know how many of these he'll have. This is 13th out of 15. He could have 3 of these for, or 2, or just the 1. I'm guessing a bunch of stored energy. He could have 3 of these. And again, Captain Marvel, all about energy absorbing, is rich as well. So it's interesting how they've kept that theme. I definitely see the trend now. Okay. He's leadership. Okay, and I see X23 at the bottom of the screen. Let's read through. Bishop comes with several cards that make use of these resources. Signature ally Malcolm. Signature allies I see. So they've done a domino again. They're starting to do that. That's really cool. 1 fort, 2 attack, 3 health, 3 cost. He's already decent. X-Men trait. Discard a resource card from your hand. Ready Malcolm. If it has a physical icon, heal 1 from him. Wow, so that's kind of game time. You ready and heal him. And you don't have to, it's not random. So you can just, I've got this physical, I guess I'll ready him up. So he wants you to kind of Voltron, like put upgrades and stuff on him, it seems like. The more he's hitting for, the more you can keep healing him and readying him for. Wow, I like this. And he's got the temporal thing, but obviously team building exercise would work anyway because I didn't check it. But yeah, Bishop X-Men. I might have said it earlier. I'm excited and forgetting stuff. Wow, so we've got a really rich character that plays allies that interact with resources, and he's all about discarding. Let's have a look at Randall. Discard a resource card from your hand. Ready, Randall. If that card has a printed energy, heal 1. So they both want one half of the stored energy, but it seems like a waste to use a double when it only wants 1. But it has to be a resource card. So I guess there's not many single resource cards that way. And the printed, yeah, okay, I see. So these things were looking really good to me, but because it has to be a resource card really specifically, then yeah, you're probably gonna have to burn some doubles for this. And printed is gonna rule out all the wilds. 2 boxes in a row. We've had a 12 hit point character with 4 recovery that are both soldiers with rifles. Let's have a look. But they both seem very different. Exhaust the rifle, choose an enemy, deal 1 damage to the enemy for each resource card in your hand. Oh. He's gonna like Cable with him. Because Cable can body slide, you can grab your stored energy from your discard pile, then flip back down, and now your rifle has more damage. That's so cool. And its tech gains ranged. So, whereas Cable's rifle you have to pay for and does damage equal to the side schemes in the victory display. This is, you're not paying for it, but you have to have resource cards in your hand, so it's less reliable. Restricted, of course. Really, really interesting. I do love that. Look at the colors in this art. Look at the lighting here. This has been commissioned specially for the game. That's why it's got the artist name down there. Don't think I recognize that name. I think that might be a new artist. Like this is really cool, guys. Uniform. Tell me that's just not his outfit. After you resolve Bishop's energy absorption ability, exhaust this, heal 1 damage from Bishop, feature resource card in your hand. That could be huge. If you're able to keep... This is... It's going to be hard to balance the amount of resources in your deck, but he does have good uses for them and good resource. So the allies are resource things. So you're putting in too many resources, so your hand is going to be unreliable. You'll have less options, maybe too many resources. But the game is giving you ways to spend them to balance that out. That is really cool, and I think this is a great card. Energy absorption is going to happen, basically every villain phase. So you get attacked, you do the response to discard cards, and it's after you discard and draw any resources, so you'll have a bigger hand size with more resources, hopefully. Then you heal. So he's going to take those attacks, kind of like the ally is trying to encourage you to do as a hero with that ally. What a cool design. And yeah, it's like you absorbing the energy, so you're kind of wanting the enemy to hit you to then hit them back. And that's why I think it very mechanically. You're literally absorbing the villain's energy, and that's the resource cards in your hand at the end. Love it. Everything about this is so cool. Overscale to the number of resource cards in your hand. Discard extra resource cards to build up power on. Supercharged. Supercharged, or use them to play Concussive Blast. These seem really interesting. I'm guessing Supercharged is like maximum velocity? No, it's an upgrade. Discard a resource from your hand. Place 1 charge counter here, just like the ally. Okay, it is a little bit. When you make a basic attack, discard Supercharge. You get +2. Wow, okay. I saw the plus stats. Okay. So you basically discard resources to build up stats here. And then you can make 1 super attack with up to +8, but you discard this. This is really Captain Marvel-esque. This is like her energy channel, which you feed energy resources. Here, you just feed any kind of resource, but it has to be from a resource card. But this is really interesting. So in some ways, this is more restrictive, but this will combo with more aspect cards. This could be so much fun. I like this incredibly. Yeah, really interesting. Okay, and then Concussive Blast must just be his normal attack. Superpower. Deal 6 damage to an enemy. You used a resource card, Ready Bishop, and he comes with a leadership precon, as we've already, kind of been spoiled here. He definitely wants the Beast ally that we got with Cyclops, I believe, to find him a resource card to make this more consistent. You can even do a build where you recur Beast, which is very good for anyone with resource cards, really, and he definitely has them. Wow, okay. Again, I like the art here. Just really loving the art. I have no complaints about the art so far. Look how kind of dynamic this pose is. Everything I could have wanted. Really cool. Okay, so Bishop looks fascinating. I want to play Bishop a lot. I did not anticipate Bishop whatsoever, and I am hooked. Let's have a look at these. X-Force. So we do have X-Force allies. I don't know if I put it in the bingo, but I was thinking about saying, don't think we'll get them as heroes, but maybe, as allies. Wow. So after X-23 attacks and defeats an enemy, ready her. So she's like Tigra with more attack. Instead of healing, she readies. That's going to go really well with the mission planning card that came with Cable, which means your parents consequential. So she could just go on a rampage as long as you can keep her healthy. Very cool, very cool. And look at the art, look at the colors popping off this. This is fantastic. Sidekick. This already intrigues me by the name of this. Attached to an identity-specific ally you control. Signature ally, that's why he's got 2. Attached ally gets +2 hit points and is your sidekick. Are they making a sidekick archetype where you have one special ally that does cool extra stuff? After you make a basic recovery, heal 2 from the attached ally. So you can see why he's kind of got these allies that heal up, that kind of seem like, you want to put upgrades and vulture on them. You absolutely do. You could do so much with this. This is going to be game changing for some characters. I'm already thinking Spider-Woman with Captain Marvel, maybe even Black Cat. There's tons of allies you probably want to ready up and get bonuses from that aren't even coming to my mind right now. This card is, and you can have up to 3, max 1 per deck. Okay, so it's going to take a while to set up. You're going to need to find your signature ally, and you're going to need to find this upgrade. That is still really cool. That is still really cool. And hey, Wolverine in the art there. I knew it wouldn't be long. Okay. As a battle-tested field commander, Bishop is a natural fit for leadership. I mean, that makes sense. All about X-Men and X-Force coming together. Bishop's pre-built deck reflects that. We're definitely getting Alliance cards then, right? Strong X-Force allies. We're getting Cable as an ally. This is cool. So he wants to defeat a side team and he draws a card. So he's basically like double consequential on the attack, but not the forwarding. Is feels unusual, but I mean, I'm liking this card. So, wow, if only you could make him a sidekick. But he's not obviously an identity specific, but Psionic, really good for Cerebro to enable it for characters, but also X-Force for Uncanny X-Force. So they're fleshing out all the archetypes from Next Evolution and Mutant Genesis. So this is cool. So we've got Psionic synergy, X-Force synergy, and card draw synergy. So keeping this guy alive is going to be hugely valuable. Man, imagine having this one and Captain Marvel, the ally on the board, and Spider-Woman. Getting a lot of Spider-Woman inspiration already. I like this card. I think, let's say you don't heal him, but you defeat 2 side schemes, you get your money back. Down to, he'll basically be a 2 cost because you've got 2 other cards back. And I think he's got good stats for 2 cost, definitely. Now, defeating a side scheme is going to be difficult to line that up, especially in multiplayer. Not necessarily difficult, but it's going to take a lot of, fiddly moving parts about. So I'm seeing this guy being more used in solo and, side scheme heavy player side scheme decks, but very, very cool. Wow, okay. X23, we've already seen up here. Command similar abilities to their hero versions. Yeah, I see it. Well, new additions, Legion. Wow. Whoa, that hair. That is a hair and a half. It's not Halloween anymore. I don't know. Maybe this is what he always looks like. Psionic again. Psionic allies are getting so much love, and this one is basic. 3 cost 1/1. After he uses basic power, discard the top card of your deck. Choose another discarding guy. So Domino instantly or Digging Deep, White Fox decks. Gonna love this guy. Deal 2 damage with an energy, 2 threat removed with a mental, or heal 2 with a physical. You have a good result no matter what here, especially in multiplayer where you're gonna have a lot of people, a lot of things on the board. So you're always gonna have, if you have one threat in the main scheme and you hit this, it's gonna suck. But in multiplayer, this definitely always, and even a lot in solo, like these are very applicable. Wow, okay, this even comes before consequential damage because all responses do on allies. So you could use, he could have 1 hit point left. If you know you're getting a physical, you just fully heal him, and then consequential will hit after that. I like this card. I like it quite a lot, I think, and I'm gonna have to think about the implications. But again, he wants upgrades if you can just keep healing him, or people that can manipulate what card is there. Interesting. He doesn't want wild resources, so maybe not for Domino. Wow, what an interesting. all, every design so far for me is hitting really well. This feels like some of the best stuff I've seen previewed. I'm glad I'm a YouTuber now and covering it. I don't know how long I've been recording for, but this is fantastic. I am amazed. Marrow, I don't know who Marrow is. Not got so weird hair at least, but oh, the spikes. Interesting. I feel like I've seen images of this one before. Maybe not. X-Force. But you can play if they've got the X-Men or X-Force straight. That's really interesting. Tomorrow enters play, deal 2 damage to an enemy. I like that. We don't have a lot of enter play, deal damage. You know, Squirrel Girl is the obvious one, but I feel like they've not done it a lot since, unless I'm forgetting stuff. That's a cheap ally too. Maybe recurring him just to keep getting that burst damage out. It's really interesting. In some ways, this character is better than Angel, because Angel has basically you're going to attack with the Angel ally. You're going to attack twice normally, then block. This one you can attack once and block, but you're still going to get the same damage because of the response. It's going to be more immediate. So I like this. This is going to be quicker tempo, and restricted to X-Force and X-Men is a nice touch. I like that it's for both of them. But otherwise, if this was not restricted to them, this guy, girl, I don't know this character, I'm so sorry, will be in a lot of decks. I still think we'll be in quite a lot of X-Force decks for sure. This is the cheapest X-Force ally I think we've ever seen, because they're expensive. Yeah, this is a cool character. I really like this card. And this is already going in basically all my solo cable leadership decks. Wow, I like that. Once you build up a team, use the advanced suit to boost any X-Men or X-Force ally and keep them on the board longer. What is this? So this is reinforced suit, but for X-Men? After they defeat a minion or side scheme, discard a card from your hand. Heal 1 damage from an attached ally for each resource on that card. How do I feel about that? Yeah, I mean, for Voltron characters, this is so good. The cost isn't super competitive, but the convenience, the access is, yeah, really, really good. But you're going to want those double resources. I wonder if they're adding a new resource card with multiple resources on it. Because Band Together doesn't have any on that card, right? Power and Leadership only has 1. And I think you're going to try and want to hit 2 here. I don't know. Interesting. Honestly, just discarding any old card from your hand, getting 1 healing is good. I'm overthinking this. This is really good. I like this. Quite like the art too. Yeah, I like this. If your hero has an identity-specific ally, make them your sidekick, and you can fight with them side by side. I knew they would have another thing working with it. Cyclops and Havoc, I think. Cool. 2-cast event. Ready your sidekick. Ready your hero. This is so cool. They could keep doing more sidekick stuff in the future, and I bet there might be one more card here that interacts with it. So, ready your sidekick, ready your hero. Choose 1. Heal both characters for 1, or both characters get +1 to forwarding an attack until the end of the phase. What a cool choices and what a cool effect. So you all get to ready up, and you all get either a heal, so you don't have to worry about the consequential that the ally is about to take because now they're healed up, or you get bigger stats. Wow, some readying characters. I'm already seeing this with Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. Love this leadership stuff. Really interesting allies, really interesting stuff. Will it be really powerful? Sidekick licking, good if you can get things in the right order. Characters that can find their signature ally very easily, getting so much worth out of Sidekick. This seems almost tailor-made for X-23, the hero, with the Honey Badger ally, and she's about to arrive. She seems like she's going to get such a tremendous boost in power with this, but we'll see. I could be wrong. This is very first impressions. Legion, super cool. All these allies, super interesting. Really like it. And that's magic. Okay, I already love the alter ego art for Ileana. Probably Ileana. If I pronounce that wrong, forgive me, teach me, help me. This reminds me of the Wolverine alternative art version they did. He was eating a bowl of cereal. This is fun. Okay, I already see the word spell here. Let's read it. Free recovery, standard, mutant, mystic. What a powerful combo of alter ego traits. Interrupt. When you change to hero form, choose a spell in your discard pile and put it on top of your deck. So both of these characters are rewarded for changing form in some way. So this is an interrupt when you would change back Put spell on top of your deck. So presumably she'll have a way to interact with that. What a cool character. Oh, hang on. I need to go back to Bishop. Hand size. Hand size is normal. I didn't even look. Didn't even look, guys. Really cool art again on the hero side. I really like that. I didn't know she had all this metal stuff. I don't know if that's armor or what, but yeah, interesting. 10 hit points, pretty standard. 1 fort, 2 attack, 2 defense. Forting is a bit low, but I'm sure Mystics will be just fine. This is something I've played. I played a character like this in Arkham Horror before. So the first line here: play with the top card of your deck face up. Digging deep and White Fox, their stocks just keep going up and up and up. You know you're playing the Hulk ally on this on Magic in aggression. There's so much you can do with that. There is so much. Cosmo, there is so much. Once per phase, you may play the top card of your deck as if it was in your hand, reducing its resource cost by 1. So you're using the Domino ally that came in the back of the last hero pack we got. I think it was in Psylocke. Wow. So Domino can swap a card onto the top of your deck. When you change from Rodrigo to hero, you can do that as well. Wow. This seems strong. Bishop, I need to play. Like, I'm looking at Bishop. My first impression is he looks really good, but it's going to be a bit of luck depending on how many resources you can get. He's going to have downturns and upturns. Still looks really, really good, though. Wow, Magic. I'm imagining the precon. Maybe Bishop's going to feel stronger than Magic, but if you build Magic with all the things where you want to know what's on top of your deck, I think she has potential, but this is very early on. Regular hand size. Let's continue. Better known as Magic, Mutant and Mystic, blah, 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 blah. Top card of your deck, already read that. Discount when playing from the top of your deck. So if you strategically use the power of Limbo, you can pull off some impressive feats for cheap. Let's look at Limbo. Whoa, this art's got crazy stuff going on. Is this demons? That makes sense from what I was told about and the YouTube comments on another video by someone very helpful because I didn't know anything about her. And she did seem really cool. I'm so excited to get Magic. Response. After the villain phase begins, exhaust Limbo. Swap a card in your hand with the top card of your deck. Let's zoom in a bit for you guys. So after the villain phase begins, you get to swap a card with the top of your deck. That just seems awesome. That's just really, really good. You're going to make it cheaper. So if it's a defense card, you can make the defense card cost 0. It's once per phase, is that right? Once per phase. Oh my god, she's going to love defense cards. She is going to love defense cards. That is going to be incredibly getting the support in protection. Wow, I love it. Action, exhaust it. Swap a card in your hand with the top card of your deck. So as a response when the villain phase begins, you can exhaust it, or you can use it on your turn to swap a card as well. And it's got the dimension trait. Wow, whole dimension in a card. Seems pretty good. I like this immensely. 1 cost seems good. I like this. Big fan. Already want to play this character right now. You know, I wonder if these being less iconic characters, they're still, you know, obviously iconic to some degree, that they're less iconic. Maybe Caleb, because I assume Caleb designed them. Maybe he felt like he had more freedom to go crazier or something. I don't know. These just seem like a step up. Maybe I'm just, you know, recency biased. I'm reading the article right now, you know, hype, but this seems incredible. Really fun. Like, that is what's blowing my mind. Okay, let's scroll down. I see the aggression coming. Okay, most of the rest of Magic's kit interacts with the top of your deck as well. Might have a lot of competition for that good aspect stuff if she wants, you know, other stuff to use it, but this just seems superb. Crown. She doesn't have a crown on the art, so let's have a look at her crown here. That looks like she's been stabbed in the head. That's not a crown. That's like some crazy rectangles had a grudge against her. Ooh, she gains steady. Interesting. 2 cost. Interesting. Upgrade item. Well, the top card of your deck has Mental or Wild. Magic gets +1 forwarding. That should be pretty reliable. So this is Heroic Intuition with Steady, and the yellow is matching that, but that's a coincidence. That's her colors. I like this card. I think I like this card quite a lot. Certain scenarios or status card heavy, you know, scenarios, this would be super valuable. And even outside of that, Heroic Intuition is generally worth running on a lot of decks. Not as many as I used to, but it's not a bad card. If someone said you had to have Heroic Intuition in your deck, I'm going to be like, fine. But yeah, maybe she has other ways to interact with stuff, with forwarding and things. So Bishop looks like he wants physicals and energies. She wants mental resources. Yeah, I like this. Not overpowered, but looks good. I like it. Armor. Please don't tell me it's just called armor. Okay, mystical armor. I mean, okay. One retaliate. Again, all these little bonus effects are good, but they're not like game changing. I mean, steady's pretty good. Oh, so this one's energy or wild. So she wants all of the things, and then she gets +1 defense. That's why our Limbo becomes so much better when you can now get the perfect stat you want. And her alter ego interrupt when you change form, get the spell with the right resource icon for what you want to do. Really cool. I really like it. Flavor text is very fashionable in Limbo. I'm gonna take her word for that one. So she's got to have an attack one as well. The Soul Sword. I'm expecting this one to be a little bit better because swords are cool. Basically, that's gain piercing. Now we've got Wolverine and then Psylocke, and now magic, one character every wave, where piercing is a big deal. That's really good keyword to have in this economy with a lot of toughs in the villain sets and stuff. Yeah, +1 attack. Okay, so it's just the same, really. In the order I prefer them, it's definitely got to be Soul Sword. I would say Soul Sword just takes it, but the Crown, especially depending on the scenario, could be there as well. But the way I think she can put defense cards on top of her deck, I don't know. I think, this is so interesting. The problem is, if you put a defense card on top of your deck, but you would have seen what was there before it, right? What happens if you're playing with the top card of your deck face up and you put one on top of it? Do you flip it face down? I mean, you still know what it was, right? This character is the domino of these two characters. There's going to be combos and moving pieces, but this character, I think I'm going to have to fight my partner, because we usually play the campaigns, 2-player, when we first get the boxes. I'm going to fight to play Magic, and I don't think she's going to like that. But it is what it is. Stat boost depending on the resources. Yeah, and with this in mind, you can use Magic Signature Stepping Discs to warp a card from your discard pile top of your deck. She has so many ways to move cards. This is going to be strong. Superpower, 1 cost. I don't think the rest of her stuff have... We've not seen any events yet, though, really. Okay, I wonder if she'll have more superpower stuff. Ready your hero. So she's going to like the readying stuff. Okay, things are starting to come together here with the stats. Choose a magic card in your discard pile, not named Stepping Disc, and put it on top of your deck. So her alter ego ability moves spells to the top of her deck. This is her own identity-specific cards. And interesting, she must have multiple copies of this, because it says choose a card that is not Stepping Disc, even though you're using Stepping Disc. Did it say that there was multiple? Yeah, they've written it as a plural here, so there's at least 2 of them, maybe 3, but probably 2. What's the number on it? 7 out of 15, could be anything. That basically looks like a lightsaber. It's all coming together. I'm playing Magic. Still not enough control for you. Do some scrying. To stack the deck is Global Logistics, my favorite Justice card. It's like precognition, I put Cable very high on my favorite heroes list, even though he's out recently. He had a card like this. To stack the deck. So this is on your own deck, okay, which Global Logistics can be, which she might like Global Logistics for that reason. You could stack several. I need to play this character. Okay, so it's a spell, so you can use her alter ego ability. It's mental resource, so it's gonna help you with the forwarding, I think. Action can be used alter ego or hero form. Look at the top 3 cards of your deck. Draw 1, discard 1, put 1 back on top. So this is Iron Man's Futurist. Look at 3, draw 1. This is Global Logistics, because you get to kind of move stuff in different places. So this is really cool. What a cool card, which are making tons of decisions. What a cool character. What's really interesting is what effects make you discard your cards with her. She's going to have multiple ways to put those things back on top of your deck. So you can kind of recover anything you might lose. Which I think even just fighting Strife, the last villain in the previous box, you're going to be able to discard stuff, but kind of, make sure you get it back when you want it. So really, really like this. What a cool card. Whoops. Guess she's got Colossus. That was her brother, though. If you don't know about the comics, even I know that, you can see the surname. Let's just move on to it. Call on Colossus to take a hit. Toughness. 3 cost. This just looks like a slightly better version of the normal Colossus ally at a glance, except when an enemy attacks you, play him. Oh, so it's without exhaust. Okay, this is a great ally. the interrupt here is basically what Pip the Pug has. So when an enemy attacks, you can actually play Colossus from your hand. You still have to pay for him, but then he can defend the attack, but you don't exhaust him, which is really interesting. So he'll enter play for free cost. You'll get to use the tough up, but he'll still be ready. So you ideally don't want to play him from hand if you can help it, but he is good enough that you could play him from hand. Those stats and a toughness are really strong. Yeah, this is a good ally. I wonder if there'll be a team up card. There's got to be, right? Let's have a look. This character looks really, really good. Gold Balls, what a name. I've heard of this character. Someone brought it up on Discord sometime. 1/4, 1 attack. It was mentioned in an interview with Caleb, I think it was, on someone's maybe Critical Encounters or Marvel Champions Monthly. Wow. When Gold Balls attacks, discard up to 3 cards from the top of your deck. The Gold Balls gets plus attack for this attack, where X is the number of cards discarded. So Domino's hunting down those digging deeps. Maybe there's got to be some kind of combo here with, Bishop, and, discarding cards. We've already seen that, Ileana, Magic here can get some of those back from the discard pile. Really fascinating how they're playing with discarding stuff and moving stuff around. I feel like this card game is maturing. It's kind of, going a little bit deeper into the pocket of other card games, but also doing it uniquely, with cool synergy on, their own cards. Really, really like this. More Wolverine art. What a surprise. But hey, he looks built here. He's been working out a little too much. After you defeat an enemy with a basic attack, exhaust Blood Rage and take 1 damage. Draw 1 card. This is going in a lot of aggression decks. Definitely X23. X23 stock going right up here. She ain't even out. There's so many aggression builds, and even builds that aren't focused on it that will still do this, that use their attack to take out enemies. Drawing 1 card for that, definitely worth taking 1 damage. This is their clarity of purpose. Hulk stock going up because he can spare that HP. Wolverine can heal it. Yeah, there's so much going on here that I like. Tell me more. Tell me more. Okay. Magic's a fierce fighter, aggression deck, blah, blah, blah. Dish out serious damage. Call on Gold Balls to deal the exact amount of damage you need. And use Tempest to stop the villain scheming. More aggression ways to deal with threats. Don't know who the heck this is. When the villain would scheme, discard Tempest, cancel that activation. Deal yourself 1 face down encounter card. This suddenly seems very bad. So you're paying 3 effective resources, 2 cost, you have to pay 2 resources maybe from your hand, but also lose her from your hand to put her on the board. But then to stop the scheme, you lose her. So she's a very expensive kind of confused card that also gets you an encounter card. That is not worth it. What am I missing here? So it's villain from the future here, and what I've actually realized with Tempest is she still kind of sucks. This card looking kind of rough to me. I might be missing something. Maybe Star-Lord can use encounter card, but can't play the X-Men ally. Kind of weird. Let's stick with Gold Balls, who looks very good. That's a lot of damage you can get there. Just discarding 3 cards. Why would you not do that? Get 4 attack. Whenever Magic takes down an enemy herself, you can tap into Blood Rage, take yourself a card, use attack events. New attack event, they've been pretty rough lately. This could be Aggression's moment. Full body charge. I like the art. Kind of weird, but kind of funny. This looks like Fastball Special. Okay, big cost, big damage. Hone Technique is interested. Deal 8 damage to an enemy. If your hero's remaining hit points are less than half your hero's starting hit points, this attack gain is overkill. So they're building into the low HP archetype that started in X23's pack, which is not out yet, but coming out soon. So it depends when you're watching this. With a card that gives you bonus damage if you... Wow. And like Wolverine paying for attack cards with his claws as a hero. He can use this he can take damage. This is a Wolverine buff. Oh my... Yeah, Wolverine takes 4 damage to play this. Then when this card, you go for its text, he will probably have less than half health. Then he gets overkill on it, and it will have piercing. Now, 8 damage for forecast isn't great, but I mean, Rush just kind of likes damage anyway. If you had Hone Technique, you're getting 12 damage. This is a cool card. I like this card. I think because of the extra effects it has and the existence of hone technique, they had to throttle the. I mean, honestly, this is good. This is a good card. Expensive card, kind of a solo card, but I like this card. So, where was I? I had to stop for a second. Build up counters for test of defense. This another archetype? Is this the aggression redemption arc? Not that it was, I still love aggression, but this seems a lot better than most precons. Let's have a look. Max 1 per player. After you play not max per deck though, so you keep it more on one cost. After you play an attack event, put 1 counter here. If there are 5 counters here, deal 5 damage to an enemy basically. Discard it and deal damage. So you play lots of attacks to charge up this attack. It's not an attack, but yeah. So you play the upgrade, you play a bunch of attacks, you can cash this in for 5 damage. Yeah, cool card. Really good card. In fact, if you're playing a lot of attacks, this is a great card. Especially because you can store it up to end the game. One of the best strategies in solo is to build up a really strong board and then just, destroy the villain, especially their last stage in one go. And a leadership has actually done that better with like big ally combos traditionally. This is going to let you build up, 5 damage in the bank immediately. Or interesting. You are forced to, but you could get up to like 4 counters with it, and it's not a forced response. You get up to 4 counters, save it, and when you attack the villain, choose to use that response. Yeah, really cool card. Fitting her status as a mystic, features the blood gem and the use of multi-use basic spell, and even more sources of versatility. It seems that this hero can do a little bit of everything. Blood gem, show me. Basic card, mystic. Doctor Strange needed this. Let's have a look. Exorcist and take 2 damage. Yeah, Doctor Strange he needed a 0 cost wild resource generator. I mean, 2 damage is kind of steep, but 0 cost. This is worth running on Adam Warlock, especially with his Soul World healing. And then multi-use basic spell. Tell me it's not just called basic spell. These effects, for the cost, are not that good. The power here is the versatility. The consequence is these are very bad for the cost. But if you could play this for less, like if this spell was on top of your deck as magic, costing 1 less, now it's good. Maybe not as good as some of the other spells and things we've seen. Maybe one of them was 0 cost, so maybe interesting. Most characters I don't think run this. If the healing wasn't locked to an identity, that would be great. But the other mystics have good forwarding already. I think they have better damage. But interesting card, and again, the art here is really, really cool. So I think that does it for the heroes and that. We're going to move on to the final bit. Heroes on the horizon. So last time they teased what was coming up next with silhouettes. They're doing it again. I don't know comics that well, so this should be interesting. New wave of hero packs there will be 4 this time, each of them featuring a member of the X-Men. We'll reveal each of them in time, but here's a sneak peek of what's to come. Okay, so from the characters I predicted, this ain't it. I don't know what I'm looking at here. This is a card, right? Or a phone? This looks like a collar of a coat. I was expecting Nightcrawler. Could any of these be Nightcrawler? I mean, look at this hair here, this spiky hair. Can you see the cursor? No, you guys cannot see my cursor. Well, that's the problem. The spiky hair, the anime-looking hair. Is that Legion? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I don't have a clue. I was expecting Beast. Kind of crazy hair and ears, but so maybe it's Beast crashed down actually. Okay, maybe Beast. I was expecting maybe Nightcrawler, but this has got to be Jubilee with the coat. Jubilee's a hero pack. No, not the craziest, biggest fan of her, but people in the comments been trying to convince me. Maybe I'm wrong. Is that a mobile device? Yeah, cell phone. Who's this in the corner then? So I'm expecting Beast and Iceman and Nightcrawler, and I don't see that here. This looks like they've got glasses or a visor, which would also be Jubilee if I'm honest. Broader shoulders. Guys, I don't know who these are. Smarter people than me are going to have to figure it out, and I'll probably talk about it on another video at some point. But yeah, this is fascinating. In March, oh, me and Nelson were talking about when we expected this. I was hoping February. March is fine. It'll give me a lot of time to play Arkham Horror, Spirit Island, and, play with the pool aspect. Yeah, we have a long wait. November to March. That hurts. But this looks worth waiting for. This is so cool. Wow, this looks good. Let me head back to my almost abandoned bingo sheet. I was so absorbed. Let's have a look. We got one, guys. We got magic as a hero. We got this, and I got the bonus point. So I'm gonna take a bonus point for that. And also because Angel looks like Archangel is the Horseman of Death by a different name. They didn't mention you can play against him, but the way it's phrased, I'm gonna take my 2 bonus points. Uh, did not get any of the other bonus points on those. There was a new resource card with Bishop, and yeah, really interesting way he works with them. Both heroes are X-Men. Actually did get that right. They started to fake me out at the beginning. 2 new archetypes. I mean, we've got the sidekick thing. Is that an archetype or not? On reflection, I don't think we did get 2 new archetypes, but they fleshed out a lot of other like archetypes and things, or kind of I suppose we did get a new one. I guess we could say sidekick was a new one, and playing multiple attacks, to charge up, test the defenses is a new one. But I'm gonna call this half a one. We're gonna throw it in yellow, maybe, but very cool. I did guess the um classes, the aspects correctly. Wow, I forgot my words. So that's awesome. And I thought we were due getting these, but we've not really had many aggression precons. I think this is the 6th expansion. We only had 2, so I guess it was due. I feel like we've had quite a few leadership ones. We've already had 3. This will be the 4th leadership precon, I think, in an expansion. And we've had multi-aspect characters, so that's strange. One hero looks much stronger than the other. Actually, no. I mean, I do think Magic looks stronger, but it's too early to call it. It's not like one is standing out too much to me, although, you can play the Sorcerer Supreme hold. If we factor in the other Sorcerer Mystic card, Spiritual Meditation. Okay. I guessed the male character wrong. So that is gone. I did not see another X-Men or mutant support, so actually that's a good thing. I was a bit worried about that because we have so many. One character looks more complex. Yeah, Magic looks way more complex. Taking that one. Future heroes are teased. Oh, I got bingo at the top. I got bingo at the top and I didn't realize. Wow. I mean, I guess some of these were a little bit easy going. We're going to go for the double bingo, which I can now only get at one side, which I don't think I can glancing through it, but I want to keep going. Future heroes teased, yes. Hero has a side deck. No. Scenario has a side deck. Oh, Scenarios look so cool. Scenarios look so good. What was her art? Let's go back to it. No. They did good. They impressed me here. I almost got a red bingo. Card that looks strangely overpowered. Okay, these 2 right here on the screen already look really good. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna say yes. Has a mental resource icon. No. I mean, there probably was something I'm forgetting here, but we'll let it slide on the bonus point. One hero breaks the deck building rules. No, does not look like it. So that was a great big no. I thought they might do something like Cable again. I suppose they did just do Cable, but it was minor. Ally with the extra trait. Oh, I did guess this. I have no idea who they are. I don't think those coincide. Actually, yes, I didn't know who this spiny person were. Although they do look. Maybe they were in one of the X-Men movies. There's someone with spikes in that. I don't think it was them. So I'm gonna say I got that one. And my bonus point was no new alliance card. What? I feel like there is going to be one in the box, guys. I think there is gonna be one in the box. So we might revisit this one day. I kind of, depending if you consider those certain cards, building archetypes. Maybe we got the double bingo, but we got the bingo. A lot of this stuff actually came true. A lot of it not true. I am surprised to see some of this. I'm surprised not to see Beast or Iceman. I was really, really expecting that. So, yeah, really cool stuff. So that concludes our look at Age of Apocalypse. Now, we're going to be going into the heroes next. I'll be doing a deep dive, so stay tuned for that. My favorite part, I mean, for the villain kind of side of stuff, would have to be the Infinites modulo with that permanent side scheme, and of course the standard, standard free. Really hope we get expert free. The standard free looking really good. So I'm excited for that. And then the 2 things I'm not quite so keen on are, the campaign mechanic seems very much tied to the allies. So you're going to have to bring allies, in your deck, it seems like, or, you're going to be stuck for, clearing those missions, which is a bit annoying. And also, yeah, I would have loved it if Apocalypse could have been the, final villain. They built up 2 expansions toward that, just like they did with Thanos. And again, someone else is going to get the final glory. I just feel that's it's not what I was hoping for. I'll leave it at that. But still, I think all the villains shown so far look really fun and interesting. In terms of the hero stuff, I mean, Magic just looks kind of incredible. The more I've looked at this, this is now, Villain Theory, maybe an hour after I initially recorded. Bishop, to me, the way he has to discard and get his resources, he's definitely going to have those ups and downs, maybe more than I thought, a little bit of unreliability. I still think he looks good, though. But Magic just looks better and better in terms of power, but it's also fun, honestly. So, yeah, Magic looks amazing. Bishop, I still think looks very good. Really, really excited for. I think the leadership cards look really fun, and the aggression cards minus Tempest look really fun as well and strong. I think they'll fix a couple of weaknesses. The allies looks Golden Balls look strong, and the attack looks really interesting. It's huge, but I think that's kind of fun. So yeah, really cool stuff there. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see more, make sure to subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.